Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 27th episode of the prestigious, acclaimed Chicken Chess Club podcast. My name is Gustafsson. I am as delighted as always to be joined by Peter Heine Nielsen and Laurent Fressinet. We're our grandmasters. They can't take our grandmaster titles, even though I'm trying my hardest to get rid of it in the Thailand Open. Peter, where are you?
I'm in Reykjavik right now. So I'm back here after 18 years. And, there is this Fischer Random World Championship, and the round has just started. So basically, I have rushed from the preparation area up to my room to be able to do a podcast with you guys. So that's where I'm located right now. But last time we spoke, I was in the Swedish woods, and Magnus was playing a tournament, but that ended a bit abruptly. So I had some nice days at in Vilnius, even managed to find time for an extra round of golf, and now I'm in Reykjavik, so that's good.
Jet set life that you're living, but you're sticking to cold countries. Here it's 27 degrees. It's nice.
27, yeah. I'm so jealous. I'm in Paris for a couple of days. Actually, I'm leaving tomorrow to play in some rapid tournament in Cap d'Agde, some old. Rapid event where there is a large open with I think 1,000 players. So yeah, that will be nice. I go there for 10 days. Play these 8 players with 4 women and 4 men, which will probably annoy Peter Heine. But yeah, I just came from Bundesliga. The team didn't do very well. It's very close matches, so. Just 1.5, and the other one was a draw. Nothing much.
How many moves did you average?
30.
Wow, new 30. Record weekend.
Yeah, but as white, I was playing this guy Nguyen, which I never met, I think. He's a young...
But he's very well prepared.
Yeah, but he didn't have a clue, actually. He spent 40 minutes on move 10. And I was better, but, then it's difficult. Because you are playing... I'm playing more than you, but still, I didn't play for 2 months. So when you are so much out of practice, it's so difficult to win games against someone who will create some kind of problems, ask some questions. So I had an excellent position, but my killer instinct was not exactly there. I missed many opportunities to be better, and then it was a draw. So pretty poor game overall. I was checked actually after the game by this security. This is a new norm in Bundesliga. Now they come with this metal detector. So, but we were both checked with my opponent, but it was clear from the level of the game that it was a proof. And okay, the second day I made a quick draw with as black against Marcus Hager. So nothing, just some couple of games. It's nice to play, to be around, to talk with people, mainly about one case. Actually, everybody is talking about that. So that was okay. So how about you, Jan? You are in the middle of Thailand Open.
Oof, I'm playing shockingly bad, even for my standards. It's hard to even talk about. I'm really playing only at 2100 level. I just sit there and I look at moves and I try to calculate, and then I just make one of the moves. But I'm completely incapable of calculating. It's my first tournament in 3 years, and it's. You know how it is. Even though we can explain it to ourselves, it's painful. It's very, very painful. But yeah, 5 rounds to go. I'll try to win a game.
Yeah, it's tough. No, you didn't play for 3 years. I can imagine. Already for a couple of months, I feel like to make a decision, just so random. This is amazing, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm playing slowly, but I'm almost losing on time every game. I just sit there and the time goes by.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. It's not like I'm calculating very hard. Just the time passes.
But be aware, it will be much worse in Bundesliga because you have 140, so you feel you will never be in time trouble, and then you spend 20 minutes on something completely irrelevant, and then you get into type. Okay, it cannot get much worse. I must admit. I mean, I saw. The game lost. The guy played very well, and you didn't expect this.
No, that kid played very well. I had one chance, but he played. I felt I was getting completely outplayed. Okay, I didn't play great, but I was very impressed for some time. But of course, in the end, I shouldn't blunder. No, that kid was impressive. Like some 13-year-old Malaysian kid. Yeah. He just crushed me. And today, okay, I had one blackout, and then I was fighting for a draw. So yeah, chess is rough. Feels like this analogy. You will understand. Feels like you haven't gone to the gym for 3 years, and then you try starting the same weights that you did 3 years ago, and somehow it's very hard to lift them.
Yeah, not much to do about it except practice, because you can play all the. I'm playing some Blitz online, but it's so different. It's so much different.
Also, yeah, I'm normally streaming, talking nonsense, and yeah, it's very different than sitting there in a tournament game. But yeah, other than that, having a great time in Thailand as usual. Just had a nice massage, took a stroll over the night market, got a coconut smoothie, living the life. I just wish I could play like a 2300 player, but I'll try to get there.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it's a nice place to be in October, November. It's just great. Yeah. So Peter has.
Where is Peter?
Yeah.
I'm here. Do you want me to sort of weigh in? Or?
Yeah, sure. Have you ever been to Thailand?
Up to you, as they say in Thailand.
No. I'm in Reykjavik, and that is also amazing.
Have you ever been into Thailand, Peter? Or it's too warm for you?
No, I don't. That's not. I don't think Thailand is my kind of place. I'm extremely happy here in Reykjavik. I was jet lagged, so I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't really know what to do. But then at 6 o'clock, I decided to go for a walk to one of these. They have a lot of public warm baths. So I went to some kind of, to have an outdoor bath at 6:30 in the morning. They opened, and a lot of people there. And you go and, you swim outside. Then you go to the hot tubs. And then I went back to the hotel when breakfast has opened afterwards. So that was pretty nice in a way. So that feels like how it should be in Iceland. And then now the Fischer Random has started, and this is it's truly random. I mean, you see the Magnus's game, and I think he is completely winning after 7 moves. And while I'm not allowed to debate what we discussed before the game started, we have like 15 minutes where the players is allowed to sit with 1 second and discuss the starting position. And of course, he played something different that we planned, and it's working extremely well. So that is cool. And no, it's nice being here in Iceland. I haven't been here for 18 years, and last evening, two guys, one aged 90 and the other one aged 85. They showed me around at the Fischer Spassky exhibition, and it was 2 guys who were actually heavily involved in organizing the match. So this was extremely interesting. So I'm really enjoying being here in Iceland, and so far so good with the chess, which means the first 9.5 move of the tournament has gone well, which is nice. I mean, and you guys talks about what to do about not being able to play chess well, and I think one option is not playing. It's rather we know your solution. We know your solution. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I'm coming around. I'm coming around to your side. I just need to find a way to trick them to have me at the Thailand Open without playing. Maybe they need a commentator. Like, this is getting
worse. But that it sounds strange, but it like we all would like to be in an environment, but not to play, and not fresh perhaps. But it's very typical, and sadly, the solution seems to be you get into FIDE, right? Then you can travel around the world like that. So I mean, yeah,
FIDE is never like one mental link away from you.
No, but I just thought the last 3 episodes, I was the last to mention FIDE, so I thought this time I should try and get it in quickly, which I managed.
Speaking of FIDE, your friend Nigel is here. Any messages I should deliver?
Oh, I have a couple of questions to him, but we'll probably get to that.
Send me a mail. I'll print it out in the hotel business center. And at breakfast.
You will. I mean,
Nigel, how you doing?
You should sue people these days. So I mean, that's how it's done, right? So no, say hi to Nigel. He's a good old friend. I have supported him in FIDE elections. We have played games together and such. We share a lot of values. So that's good. But I think no, you are. I mean, but it's a serious point. People would really like to stay in the chess world. That's where their life is, their friends is, and it's not so easy as a player. So people are looking for ways, and
No, I felt that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I've never taken that much pleasure in playing.
No, but actually you mentioned a good point. I spoke with one guy yesterday, and I also admitted that I really like chess, but I don't think I like playing. And that's kind of similar to you, I think. I mean, playing is not a pleasure. Analyzing chess openings is a pleasure for me. I mean, and that's a handicap as a player, no doubt.
I like winning, actually. Playing, I'm not sure.
You're wired a little differently. You enjoy the process of gaming, sit there, like make faces. I just hope it's over. I'm really not made to be a chess player.
But you're trying you want the game to finish. I mean, is my impression, right? And
no, I do want to win, but I don't enjoy the process of I can go here and what does he do then? Which it's not ideal. Doesn't mean I don't love chess, but I don't love playing chess.
No, someone also explains to me at some point that the good shape is this idea that you don't want the game to finish. You don't want to win immediately. You just want to try and make good moves. And, you feel confident in that process and you enjoy it. But it's that's something to work on is a bit strong for us. But also, I might seem a bit absent-minded, but I'm constantly looking at my phone trying to follow Magnus's game. But, he's like a pawn down, but the computer says +6, so it's probably good.
Sounds decent. I'm not an expert, but +6.
No.
Does sound pretty good.
There is a rumor on Twitter that you played the dragon today.
I did play the dragon.
But it's very important for me. Were you following Giri's course or were you following my DVDs and the repertoire I gave you 10 years ago?
I have seen neither course. I saw my opponent against the dragon. He usually goes bishop e3, bishop g7, bishop c4. Because I did check his blitz games. I did go to some length here.
That feels like 20 years ago. Yeah, okay.
No, that's right now. Openingtree.com. You just Google your opponent's games. So I was hoping for 6 bishop e3, bishop g7, bishop c4, when after knight g4, black is better. But I didn't fall for that, so I was stuck in some other position. I think I was better after 12 moves and lost after 15, so the usual deep thought. At least I spent like an hour and a half on the moves 13, 14, 15.
Basically, your opening strategy was that against a player who's 300 points lower than you, that you gamble it on him of playing some bad moves he plays in blitz rather than just to get a game of chess and outplay him with your skills.
Not really. First of all, I think that guy was underrated. He had pretty good results in online blitz. He's not much weaker than me. Secondly, if I go e4, e5, which I usually do, he will play the Scottish 4 knights, which is not the best friend of e4, e5 players playing for a win.
Fair enough.
So I had to choose something, and I went with the dragon, where he seemed fairly clueless. And I was much better after 12 moves, so that paid off. Just, I can't play chess.
No, it's true also. We always make fun that you play e4, e5 in Bundesliga, and now you decide not to do it, and we make fun of you anyway. It's maybe not very nice.
Very hard to protect myself from being made fun of for my chess, but my preparation process is reasonably sound.
I'm sorry to make this into a program just for my social needs, but did you play one of my friends in the first round, the Belgium ambassador to Taiwan?
Wow, brag! But yeah, I played him. He even mentioned he was a friend of yours.
Yeah.
I of course replied, I did not know Peter Heine had friends, but then he mentioned shogi. And we hit it off.
Okay, good. Hey,
I also barely won that game.
No. I mean, he played the Portuguese gambit against you, I saw. Yeah. So,
well, I play 1 e4, which is a very daring move. And I'd seen he plays d5, ed, knight f6, which is not great, but he knew it much better than me. So
yeah.
He had a lifetime of experience. Yeah, chess is rough. What can I say?
Mm-hmm. Good.
But yeah, I'll send him my regards after I handed your list of questions to Nigel.
Yeah, but you should ask him. I mean, do you know what he did his thesis about when he was taking his studies?
That I do not know.
No, about FIDE.
We're not that close yet.
He has done
Really?
He's done his thesis at FIDE. Yeah, I asked him. No, if I could see it, he said no. That happily it's gone. It's a very boring document in convoluted French. But yes, he did his thesis about some FIDE stuff, but then he left for the diplomatic world and such. But you should ask him about his in his youth, he had meetings. He met some of the FIDE guys. These diplomats are extremely interesting.
So if you are Jan, if you are missing the FIDE talks, you know whom to contact in Thailand.
That's crucial information. Now also the friendship makes a lot more sense. Even I thought it was a shogi thing, but FIDE is in the mix as well.
No, it was. So he's. You understand the shogi world. Us chess players I looked weirdly at, but this guy is also a chess player, so at least he had a bit of respect for me. So that was very nice. He completely crushed me at some point because, his dynamic skills are much better than mine in shogi, but maybe also in chess. But anyway, we are getting away. I have no idea what we're doing. But again, I'm just babbling because it's a typical reflex to being a bit nervous. Magnus is still +6, but somehow position just looks equalist to me, and Magnus is a pawn down. But apparently,
soon you will have to give your opinion about the case. I mean, the lawsuit of Hans Niemann. So please, you should go first. You should go first.
No, I'm not really allowed to have any opinion. I think to get the listeners up to speed, there has been Hans Niemann has sued not just Magnus Carlsen, but Himakaro Nakamura, Daniel Rentz, Chess.com, Play Magnus, I think for totaling $400 or $500 million, or is it a bit unclear if it's only 100?
Is it Daniel Rentz personally? I thought it was Chess.com.
It's a bit unclear for me. If it's what it is to some extent.
I think it was 4 people. I mean, like four entities, let's say. Mm-hmm. Okay, 2 people, Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura, and 2 entities, Chess.com and Play Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
Which Play Magnus, actually I didn't get why, but okay, that's different. So you were surprised by that or not?
Not particularly. It's also logical that he kept silent for a long time, and then he was doing that for a particular reason. But I was about to say that I'm not a legal expert. I think in the sake of transparency, we have to, that Jan has 1 or 2 years of law studies before he.
Oh, many more years. Many more years.
Ah, really? Okay. Okay. And also, I also have quit university studies, but that was history. But I have 10 to 11 years of being of jury service in Denmark. But the rules there are that, they tell you that you should come there without having any kind of prior knowledge of law, which I fitted excellently. So I don't really have any knowledge. So all I know about the legal status of
appeals committees. Listen, if you're listening, I have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. No, Jan.
Sorry,
no, but you can be joking, but I think, for instance, someone like...
I never joke when it comes to appeals committees.
No, that someone, when they had Johan Hjartarson in the 2018 World Championship match, I think it was an excellent choice. He's a strong grandmaster. He's played the candidates matches, and he is a lawyer. It's obvious we should have people with these kind of skills.
Yeah, you're trying to win our jobs at appeals committee, but it's good. It's good that you're making bad publicity for us.
Mm-hmm. But I wanted to say that all my knowledge about this case is listening to a competing podcast, and they went through the case, and it was very interesting. So
that's our friend. Shout out to the Perpetual Chess Podcast. There's no rivals.
Yeah, I was also reading this Aviva Cohen. He's a lawyer in US as well. I was reading his thread on Twitter and his article on his website. That was very, very interesting. Just to know, to understand. They all seem to. The point for this defamation is that there should be some, at least from Magnus or Naka or Chess.com, there should be some malice, which I think in France it's not normal.
This is also
malice in France.
No, but actually, this is a very serious subject for me. And if we have among the listeners have someone who can help us with that, I would be very curious to know, because as far as I understand that, if you say something about someone else, as long as you believe it's true, you don't necessarily have to be able to prove it.
It's an opinion. It's considered as an opinion and not defaming stuff. So this is very. For me, it's very weird. I think
I'm very surprised. For instance, if I was saying that I believe that the whole French team knew about Feller, I thought that would be a criminal, but apparently I can I could just say it without being sued, and that's a bit surprising to me. I thought that actually.
Well, you can always be sued. You might not win. You can always be sued.
Yeah, but Peter, you have 2 minutes. It's clear that you don't think.
The point is, of course, what they say that you have to think it. But, for instance, it's probably hard for people to believe in it, but in the recent FIDE elections, it is obvious that I held back because there's a lot of things you think, but you don't think you're able to say, but you can't prove it. But if that's actually the case, we could have spoken much more freely, and it would be certainly.
Well, but I think it's in US. It's very particular to US, as far as I know.
Maybe it's only in the US, okay. But I was reading also some of the Norwegian lawyers who were saying that, they have to be able. Well, Niemann has to prove that it's wrong. B, he has to prove that there is malice. And no, that was a bit surprising for me. Anyway, maybe.
And the second surprising thing for me was that actually Naka is completely out of trouble. It's what they seem to say.
That seems to be the conclusion of that podcast. Well, the lawyer in the podcast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that Naka, for sure, nothing will happen. I would think from all what he said in his streams, I was watching his streams, that he should be the only one to be in trouble. But apparently, this is the opposite. So, but actually they don't think, but they are not sure, of course, that the trial will happen, simply. So, but who knows? If it happens, in US, I don't know. We saw so many. I heard so many crazy, case, and who knows what happened. So probably they just. So it was the guy was saying on Perpetual podcast, which was excellent. I agree with Peter.
Yeah, if the people wants to know. If they want to know the legal details of the case, they should probably. Our listeners should go there. We shouldn't exactly tell them to go away from here, but it's clear that the expertise in the US legal system and things like that was explained very interestingly and very well there.
Whatever, but it will be very difficult to. He was saying that it will finish like no trial or some settlement at some point because they don't. You don't take the risk simply to go to trial because. Anything can happen there. But also, good luck with proving that Magnus... I'm sure of one thing in this case, that Magnus really believed that Niemann was... it will be very difficult to prove that it was just out of malice. And there is, in the document, I was reading the 47 pages of Niemann. That was ridiculous. That his career will be damaged by a loss against Niemann or some stuff like that. That was just amazingly... at times, it was just complete nonsense what it was written there.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
It's interesting, but you're mentioning that, for instance, they're saying that the loss to Niemann would crush Magnus' dream of reaching 2,900. That's not exactly a mathematical fact. It made it a bit more difficult, but so did making a draw with Hjartarson. There was a lot of things there. Yeah. Were you a bit disappointed not to be mentioned? I saw that our friend Laurent Trent, for instance, was mentioned in the lawsuit. But you're relieved.
Always gotta give Trenty a shout out.
Yeah,
but why I should be mentioned? What is very strange in this, on all those pages, the main character is Nakamura. Actually, they are quoting like Nakamura all the time. This is amazing, actually. That's so I don't know if there is some.
Well, no one else spoke much, right? Other than this chess.com report, Magnus only released the statement.
Yeah.
I'm a bit curious. Sorry if I'm jumping. For chess.com, if it went to trial, would they have to show their algorithm, like how they came up with the online stuff? Because that's probably something they want to keep in house. No, I'm not sure what you have to disclose in trials.
Mm-hmm. I saw that debated as well. It would be an interesting case for some of these things, but I think for the actual sort of the main point, it seemed, at least that was the lawyer's position, that for instance, Nakamura would not be in any trouble at all, and to prove some of the other things would be very, very uphill struggle as well. But, I guess we are also a bit biased, yeah?
Yeah, but the guy made both lawyers, they said that they were exactly, from what I read, it's clear they were exactly saying the same. That's the main from all those entity. I mean, the biggest risk is for chess.com apparently, because they came up with this 72 pages. They came with this over the board, statistics and so on. So it's clear it could clearly be some malice there, because for Magnus, I mean, why he should be so worried about Niemann? I mean, first of all, there is much better youngsters than him, than Niemann. So, I mean, and his career...
Next lawsuit.
Laurent is trying to get into the lawsuit, it seems.
So, I mean, like, Fioja is 10 times better than Niemann. I mean, okay, anyone can judge. I mean, first of all, he's younger. He had better results. He has 100 points more in rating. So it's clearly a much more dangerous rival for Magnus. And anyway, Magnus, even if he stops chess tomorrow, he has an amazing career. So, I mean, you are not going to say that even if Federer would continue, he would lose in some Grand Slam in the second round, and his career would be crushed. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, actually. I mean, that point just, to me, didn't make slightest sense. So now I know that I can say what I think, actually, Peter. Look, we can say what we think, and it's okay if there is no malice.
That would be a new policy for this podcast. Like, I don't think we should start saying what we think. But okay,
tell what you think about
FIDE,
Peter, please.
No, but it will be interesting for I mean, no, I am curious about that, because I really thought that, I mean, let's say about, I mean, people, doing things they shouldn't do in the FIDE elections, talks about corruption and such. I mean, well, there is things we definitely would like to talk about. I saw that, for instance, my running mate, Mr. Baryshpolets, was writing on that this guy, Igor Kogan, people should go and visit him, and that was pretty much indicating that they would go there and get paid in one way or the other. And I thought you could not insinuate stuff like this, but if you can, of course, the debate will be more free and more interesting. And now Magnus has actually won the first game in the Fischer Random World Championship. So
are we? Jan, I have a question for you. Are we actually going to get sued if you don't delete what Peter just said? Or?
I wasn't really listening. I'm assuming it was some FIDE stuff, and it sounds like you guys just discovered free speech. So this is great.
I was quoting what Baryshpolets was writing on the internet, and it was quoted by a serious guy. So I'm not saying it myself. I'm just for me it was a genuine surprise. I thought that you actually needed to be able to prove things, not just to think that they were true. But yeah,
I think it's in US. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I in France, I'm sure I checked it actually, and I don't have any.
I think also our readers gets this idea that I think somewhere, I mean, in one of the not reviews but comments to our show, they said that we were like amateur lawyers, and I think that's at best. So I mean, we seem to have little knowledge about that, and I'm actually quite curious because
but we know we have little knowledge, and we are trying to read about it, and we're trying to listen about it. So I think it makes sense to, and we can read what the lawyers of Niemann wrote, or Niemann himself wrote. I mean, probably the lawyers, of course, but I mean, some of the stuff. I mean, it's from a chess player perspective, we can say it's a nonsense. I mean,
what do you think? I mean, how does this work? Is Niemann hiring a law company and paying all the expenses, or do they have some kind of stake in the case? I mean,
I think they have stakes.
If Niemann is presenting himself as not having that many funds and living in a suitcase, to hire a couple of lawyers, it doesn't sound like the easiest thing in the world to me.
This kind of case, I mean, from what I read, I heard about that. I mean, they take some percentage.
Okay.
Also wasn't exactly low profile. Probably he just got contacted as well. No, with plenty of offers.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no clue.
Exactly.
So basically, you are saying that the lawyers either believe Niemann has a case, or they think that it's interesting publicity, or what are you saying?
There's always a chance of a settlement, which usually means money is involved. No, even if people think it's not a case to go through a lawsuit. I don't know much about the US system.
and then they will decide if you go to trial or not. And then I guess if you go to trial, even with one of the entity, let's say chess.com, then it's very risky for chess.com. So I guess it's not automatic settlement. You do whatever you want. But apparently, as I understood it, I mean, it's clear that you don't want to risk $100 million. I mean, basically bankrupt. And then you can give like, I don't know. If you give, I guess chess.com can afford.
What if Hans just got 500 million? Do we just give the whole chess industry to Hans? Hans take all the money. Chess is bankrupt now.
No, I was also.
But this is not happening. Yeah.
I was curious about that. I mean, the next day I remember I went to check the stock price on the Play Magnus because they are basically sued for 100 million, which is amount to more or less to their stock value. But the stock value was completely stable, so the market doesn't seem to be overly worried about that part, at least. I mean, well, this is typically, you see that some company gets sued and their stock price will be reduced in a way. But here it seems not to be the case, at least from what I could see. So
I mean, the American lawyers didn't think there is a case, so I don't know. Maybe they have different opinions. I mean, it's very hard to say, actually. Or it's just one way to say from Niemann perspective.
Also, both could be true.
What?
There could not be a case, but you still don't want to go to court and having to disclose whatever you have to disclose. So if the number is low enough, there might be a settlement. I have no clue. But yeah, I would guess the lawyers, if they're serious, they wouldn't go for it if they didn't think there was any chance to make any money. Or maybe they're just big Hans fans. It read like they're big fans, that paper.
Well, I think that at the podcast, I mean, the legal expert was saying that some of the things he thought that it looked like Hans has basically told the lawyers, I want to have these things there. And I mean, he basically said that, well, it looks like the lawyers barely agree, but it's a typical thing where you can see that it almost sounds like the client has forced him to do that. I have no idea again, but it's an interesting podcast.
The very handsome Laurent Fressinet is of too high character to commit any of these crimes, having
Something
been
like that.
a long-time friend of the very bright and handsome Frenchman. I vouch for him personally.
No, but I mean, it looks what the legal experts say on Perpetual Podcast looks very plausible. Let's say that Niemann. I mean, he's a young guy, and he clearly has a big problem. I mean, his biggest problem is with Nakamura. I mean, it's very clear from his interviews and from that paper. So maybe it's a personal. I think it's a personal stuff, and that sounds very likely actually what he was saying. But yeah, let's see how it goes.
Well, I don't know who's guilty or not, but I would be taking the stuff pretty personally from any side. So I'm not too surprised. There is personal stuff there. What happened to this Gaprinashvili lawsuit? Gaprinashvili got quite some money from Netflix. No, have you guys heard how much?
No, I mean, the only thing I know is they made a settlement. I never think that any kind of figure was, disclosed.
I heard it was a substantial amount. I also don't have any official sources, but I heard it was very substantial. I would assume life.
I mean, Netflix is not chess.com, yeah? I mean,
no.
You can take
That surprised me a bit because, I mean, I didn't think it was that defaming what they said. Well, they said that she never competed with men, which of course is not true, but she was I thought it's not something that you could argue is damaging her and for millions of dollars. But maybe
I think they also called her Russian, which I guess is sensitive in this.
Oh, that of course. Okay, no, that's yeah, that of course
that should cost millions.
But that it costs millions, I was a bit surprised. Yeah, no, I mean, well, she didn't. I don't think she played the Open World Championship. She played the female, but of course she played a lot of tournaments together with the males, no doubt. But I mean, that it's somehow well. You can argue Hans being called a cheater is a more substantial, defamation in a way. But anyway,
for sure. No, but also it's completely different that Netflix, I mean, doesn't want, I guess, any bad publicity. They have a lot of money, so I guess they are. I mean, they just want. I mean, they're ready to settle for someone. I mean, probably she's happy with the money, and Netflix doesn't care much. It's nothing for them. And probably maybe it's some millions. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. But it's, to me, it doesn't sound impossible at all.
Million sounds like a lot to me. But, well, I think also,
Yeah.
winning a lawsuit is already something that you are right. Then money could be a secondary thing. Anyway, I still think we should move on to something we're experts on, and that's probably going to have to be chess.
Oof, I don't feel qualified. What happened in chess? I'm so out of it. Duda won the Champions Chess Tour. You were with Magnus in Sweden. He never wins on the road. I saw some stats. He wins from home. He doesn't win on the road. What's your defense?
Thanks for pointing this out.
You're welcome.
It's not fully true. He has definitely won events.
Won. It's what he said himself, actually, in the post-game interview.
Yeah, I mean, he goes. I mean, generally, we have this idea that we go to some location and play from there, because then he can fully focus on chess, not, hang out with friends, but be with his second instead, have healthy food, prepare all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't seem to work that well. But it's, I think we were together in Denmark earlier this year, and he lost in the semifinals to Ding. And now this year he lost in the semifinals to Duda, while basically all the other tournaments he wins from home. So I get your point, but again, I also want to keep my job. So it's a bit there. But, well, generally, he played pretty horrendously in the qualifiers. I think it was his own sort of explanation, giving interviews. Maybe he ended up like number 5 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, that was not great, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was commenting, actually.
Yeah, it's not like the result was horrible. It's not like he had any kind of trouble qualifying from the top 8. But the level of his chess was just bad. He lost like 3 or 4 games, and some of them in a horrible way. Then in the quarterfinals, he met Eddie Geisy again. And there, I mean, things seemed to start improving. He qualified rather easily. I think maybe he had one bad game where he was in trouble, but somehow made it okay. And we actually thought things were gonna go pretty well. And then he had to play Duda in the semifinals. And, well, strangely there, he also played quite okay. It felt like it was actually a decent match for him. He had like 2 games with White where he was putting a lot of pressure, but not really winning. But under normal circumstances, he would win. And then there was the crucial game 2, which he lost. Well, basically, he was black in a King's Indian. Duda was playing some kind of system. It was a very interesting position. Duda sacrificed an exchange. It was very dangerous. Magnus didn't defend well in the beginning. And then Duda had a winning attack, but he couldn't finish it. And basically, it was a very impressive defensive performance from Magnus where most other players would blunder a mate or 2 in 3, because your king, Magnus's king, was extremely exposed, while Duda's kings was safe. But Magnus is good at this, and he didn't make any kind of blunder. So Duda couldn't finish him off. He had to find some exact moves to mate him. He was not capable of doing that. And, well, Magnus basically hung around with his king in danger for 30 moves and managed to stay alive, and at some point even had a winning position. And then something extremely strange happened. I mean, Duda fell into a trick. Magnus would win his queen. But, well, Magnus had to choose to go with his king to e6 or c6. And, well, both looked winning to him. But he thought on e6, it's slightly more exact in terms of that, it's closer to the king's side. That'll be nice and ending, blah, blah, blah. But the whole problem was that Magnus played king e6. And the idea is that he's going to give bottom rank mate next move, whatever happens. But Duda could then play queen b3. And when Magnus would play rook takes e1, Duda could play rook d5 to d1, discover check, and there was no mate. And that meant that basically Magnus was losing again. And it was a horrific blunder.
Very, very exciting game. I mean, you are pointing out that game and...
Incredible. And the point was, the game had not finished at this point. Then again, Magnus made an amazing defensive performance, only to blunder it extremely late again. So, I mean, if you look at the number of moves, I would say that Magnus played better than Duda for 70 of these moves, but he made 2 big blunders, and that cost the match. And, well, it was weird. I mean, we were in Sweden, and suddenly, okay, actually, we're going home tomorrow. And that's what it is. And
Duda played very well, the wall.
No, Duda...
I mean, he took his chance. He gave a great fight. And
to put Magnus in a situation where it becomes a fight like this is already great. And Duda managed to, make a draw. Actually, he won game 4 and he won the final quite convincingly against Mamadjarov. I mean, I'm not at all trying to belittle Duda. I mean, getting a close bet with Magnus is already an achievement. And if you do that, sometimes you will win. But for us, of course, it was a bit sad.
He won very convincingly against Mamadjarov, but then the second day he lost the first 2 games, and he made a quick draw in the third game, which was incredibly weird. But he won in the Blitz. And Duda, was a deserved winner. I think he won also the qualifier. So, Duda played very well. The main thing in the qualifier was Giri again missing in the last round to Erigaisi. I mean, he had to make a draw with Erigaisi, he had to lose to Erigaisi and Vidit to win his game against I don't remember whom for him not to qualify. And after 10 minutes of play, it looked incredibly unlikely to happen, and it did happen once again. I think it's the second time.
Actually, the 2 last of this Grand Prix tournaments, Giri has ended up as number 9. And after a very exciting last round, where until the last minutes looked like Giri would qualify.
And it makes all of us very sad, actually, we should say.
Yeah, also for me,
I think he just chickened out. He was afraid of the knockout phase.
Yeah, but he didn't have it completely under his own control, to be honest, because he needed help from a number of other players. But no,
he did have. Yeah. He did have. Of course. Not to qualify. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah. So
there is one game which was, which will make him the chicken of the week. Of course, game 14 against Magnus. He was white, and he was already trying. He thought that 2 draws is okay to qualify. So he was white against Magnus. That was the opening choice and all the choice of the moves were just really superb. That was very chicken-esque, but it makes sense from...
I think from a sporting perspective, it makes sense. That players try to necessarily force a draw with Magnus in order to qualify is not something that you can complain heavily about them, in my opinion. So that's not I'll not be criticizing that.
Okay, let me go through our rundown here. Let me see. Random small talk about our lives. Check. Clueless rambling about Niemann lawsuit. Check. Champions Chess Tour that no one can remember anymore. Check. US Championships. Fabi won. Shout out to Fabi. Always good to see Fabi win something. I don't know why, but I'm happy when Fabi plays well. Not even sure he played that well. He had a lead and then he drew 800 games in a row, but it was enough to win. So shout out to him.
It's nice. He has a good event. He's a great player. So I don't really. I'm following just because it's a strong tournament, but I'm not really rooting for anyone in that.
Great comeback by Niemann. No, won 3 games in a row at some point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think someone said at some point that the chess world is a better place when Aronian plays well, and I feel a bit the same with Fabi.
Didn't Kasparov say that? Sounds like a guy.
Maybe it was Kasparov, and I feel a bit the same with
Kasparov about Aronian.
With Caruana. That we know he's such a strong player, and when he plays well, if there is maybe a bit more competition to Magnus, but also he just plays beautifully when he plays well. You feel that. The world order is a bit restored and things are as they should be. If younger players play even better than Caruana, that's great. But we know Caruana can play extremely well, and it's nice when he does it. So I can also honestly say I was very happy to see him win. No doubt about it.
He also has a nice style for us opening nerds. It's very prep heavy, a lot of direct lines. And then when he gets his stuff, he finishes by calculating. So stylistically, it's pleasant to watch for at least our type of player.
Maybe you are right. That
I like him in the openings, but then I don't like his style. It's very move by move. He's calculating. He's incredibly good in calculations, but I don't think. For me, I'm not enjoying that particular style. I prefer. Much more, to watch Magnus endgame finesses or something like that. Of course, for openings, he's just, and in candidates, he was shining and showing ideas basically every day. So that's just always very interesting to see where he goes and how. But then, stylistically, I cannot say I don't. I mean, I don't enjoy it.
So what players do you enjoy, Laurent? Are there any non-Magnus or non-French players on the list?
Let me think. I mean, from the playing now, yeah. I mean, Giri, I enjoy. I like his style. No, I mean when he's playing normal. I mean, like let's say Giri as white against a player. He really wants to win. Yeah, I mean like 27-50. Let's say. Then it's. I mean, he's playing this very very technical style. I think it's very very interesting to watch some finesses. And this is a style I like. I mean, this is my personal. Because a guy who can calculate well, okay, fair enough. I can switch on my computer as well. So, but this small finesse, about structure and so on, I prefer this kind of style. So, Giri, do you like my suggestion, Jan?
No, I'm not very surprised because like Giri is your FIDE. Like any topic, your first thought will be how can I align this to Giri? So
I mean the second. I mean after Magnus, Ali Reza. I think he has a great style too.
No, I said non-Magnus, non-French.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was the problem.
I understand.
That I couldn't. I don't know.
I like Caruana, Ding, Aronian, but maybe it's because...
Ding, of course, Ding. I forgot my boy Ding. Ding is fantastic to watch. Yeah, Ding I like very much. Yeah.
Ding is my boy too. Martial player, not a 1e4 player, very clean style, mix of calculation, technique, everything. Like that's, living the dream.
But you genuinely like So as well, right?
No, I like So as a person. His style, I mean, it depends, but I'm not sure I enjoy it as much as like Dings or Fabi. I'm not even sure what the difference is. But somehow, no, I'm not. I'm really not sure what it is. Maybe Fabi is a bit more versatile in the opening, but I'm not even sure because Wesley can play a lot of things too. But it feels like Fabi takes more semi-bluffs, calculated risks, while Wesley is always very on the correct side, which, of course, I can relate to, but it's more fun to see Fabi, getting some more surprising prep in sometimes. But I'm not sure. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wants to win, Fabi, at all costs. That tournament he had a lot of points, so he started to make some doors. But I forgot about Ding because we don't see, we barely saw him playing last 2-3 years. I mean, which is really a great pity. I mean, he was up and coming in 2019, and then this pandemic, he played a couple of candidates, but that was, I think, okay, he played this marathon in China to get the spot in candidates. Some events online, but he was playing at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, in general, such a while we didn't see Ding, the real Ding, clearly. For 3 years, we didn't see the real Ding. He won his spot in candidates, but that was because some people collapsed and he wanted his last game. But he played some table games. So I feel really a pity with Ding, but I'm a big fan of Ding 2019, let's say. I'm a huge fan, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds like we can all agree on Ding.
Okay.
What else on the list? Junior power rankings. Did anything change? I didn't follow the kids. No time to follow kids here.
Well, they all qualified in this Championships Tour. Ergazi, Gukesh. They are good.
I got crushed by some 13-year-old. I'll put him on the list. He's good.
We need to speak about women's chess as well because the female candidates tournament has started today.
I didn't see any of it. Who's playing? Who's winning? Are you happy with the pairings?
No, I'm very upset about the pairings, obviously, but that probably belongs in the FIDE segment. But Humpy Conero from India has already beaten Anna Muchachuk in the first game. Anna basically blundered a small combination, winning an exchange, and Humpy won easily. And also Lai Qingji is winning against the other Muchachuk sister, Maria Muchachuk, at the moment. So it looks like...
Lai Qingji is very strong, always been a fan.
Very much so. So it looks like that... it's too early to say. This is actually round one of the knockout matches, but it could be that the both Muchachuk sisters is off to a rough start and might have to exit in the quarterfinals like this already.
So how many games?
I don't know, but and I'm not really capable of finding out.
Yeah, and so that means that the Musichuk sister, if they would, if they both win, they play together in the semifinals.
Correct. Yes, that's the case.
That would be just incredibly weird, actually, because they never play. So I don't know. We are lacking in force, but I guess for candidates, they cannot play 2 games. No, 2 games is too little.
No, I think they play. Most likely they play six games, or maybe they play 4 games. Because you should understand this is the semifinals of this event, and then the winners will play a match immediately to qualify for the finals. Basically, they have split the candidates into 2 separate events. This one is the Monaco part, and the next one is happening, if I remember correctly, in Uzbekistan. And then the winners of each part will play a final later. So far it looks like the Musichuk sisters could actually both end up being eliminated, or at least they'll be behind 1-0, both of them, after the first round seems to be the current thing. It's quite interesting that they're actually bringing back candidate matches. This has really been a while since they had that the last time. And I don't know, what do you think? You think it will be a fun system in the open section as well, or more that this, at the moment, the candidates is such a great event that we shouldn't change something that just works?
I like the candidates. I barely recall. I think in the mid-90s was the last time we had all these matches like Vichy against Kamsky playing in every cycle and so on. Felt a bit drawn out, and also there was this. It might have been randomness. I'm not sure it was connected to the system, but there was all this weirdness with the Kramnik-Shirov candidate finals, with Shirov winning and then Kramnik getting the match. So I was always a bit confused. The candidates tournament seemed like a nicer system to me. Although you could argue it's still confusing. First and second of the candidates tournament play the World Championship. But no, I'm a fan of the way it is now. The matches, it's drawn out over months, and it felt, I don't know. The candidates is just 3 weeks of excitement, so what's not to like?
Yeah, in principle, I like the matches more. Also, there is Fischer's old argument that in tournaments, you can sort of gang up and try to fix things. But I have to admit that in practice, it has worked incredibly well. I think, it started maybe, if we include World Championships, we go back to 2005. And basically, all the events has been very exciting, right? So it's...
but exciting doesn't mean exactly... it's more fair in knockout, I think. Just you have this... When Magnus qualified, for instance, Kramnik was playing Ivan Chuk, who he didn't... he had no sporting... it was not... For him, for a sporting point of view, he was playing for nothing. Widler, it was the same against Magnus. They both won because they are great players and they are fair and they are focused. But, it makes little sense when you play to qualify and you play a guy who has... Basically, his tournament has ended 3 rounds before. So for me, I prefer the matches, to be honest. Actually, I found the format. It's 4 games matches with possible tie breaks. So there are plenty of time for the Musichuk sister to come back. So I don't know. I favor the knockout in general.
But to me, 4-game matches sounds a lot more random than like a, whatever it is, 14-round candidates tournament. I could be wrong. But I also like that the World Championship is its own format, so that it's a special crown jewel in the chess world instead of these endless matches to get there as well. So, no, I'm good to the way it is.
I think right now it works, and that's the point. Also, in principle, I agree with Laurent, but right now it simply works, and it's working well. So, it will be. There will be other things we could change first, I would say.
Oh, I forgot, by the way, in 2011, we had these sort of matches, no? There was this weird system in Kazan. In Kazan, which also led to, I don't know, a bunch of strange stuff. No, people forcing draws with white to get to the tie breaks. And it was a very strange event.
And I think the years before there was Elista as well, where Magnus played Aronian, for instance. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was some exciting. Gichuk decided that he will get nothing as white, and then he was making quick draws. Because one guy mainly decided that... and he was winning all his matches. And that made a big... and he was also...
I'm sure Rajabov had a similar strategy. No, I can barely recall.
Yeah, but Rajabov, you cannot... these people... difficult to prevent quick draws. Of course, if they play a match, it's a bad news, yeah, that's for sure. But Rajabov is the candidate. He was also trying to force draws. Then
in 2011 in Kazan against Kramnik, I could be I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was a bunch of those. But actually, I mean, like normal, let's say, I mean, I remember Kramnik and Gelfand, they were trying out. I mean, of course, with black, sure. I mean, as blacks, they were not against the door, but as whites, they were trying something. And nowadays, it seems to me that all the guys will try something at white, with white. I mean, not go for those. So, I don't know. We can't judge from one tournament.
No, but there has been 5, and they had actually kind of worked. But it could also be a bit random in a way. But women's world championship cycle is progressing at the moment, so that's also interesting. And here in Reykjavik, the first round is not fully finished, but Abdusattorov has beaten Nepomniachtchi, and Nakamura has beaten Bluebaum. I mean, here it's a bit of a strange mixture that there is 8 players. They are divided into 2 groups in the group stage, where they're gonna play 2 mini matches against each opponent. So it's 6 mini matches, and that will sort of the match point will count before board points, and the 2 best will progress to semifinals and finals. And it sounds a bit like a World Cup in soccer system, with a group stage followed by knockout stage. And this is some kind of mixture. But okay, this is more entertainment than anything else, I would say.
It's a bit, actually, the system is unfair. In Reykjavik, there is 4 seeded players, while 4 had to qualify. So, I mean, that kind of stuff I really dislike. I mean, especially, I mean, if you are giving a title as Random Fischer World Champion, it's not, doesn't have a lot of value in chess world, of course. But, I mean, it's so weird that you have 4 people seeded there. I mean, like out of 8, I mean, like half of people, they didn't play a move to qualify there, and they were just. One is Icelandic, one is his name is Magnus Carlsen, which makes sense. One is Jan Nepomniachtchi, future challenger, and the last one I'm not even sure. Naka maybe, or he qualified, or Wesley. Wesley is the defending champion. Wesley is the defending champion. But I mean, it's too many. Out of 8, it's it's not possible. So to have 4.
But do we consider it are you pro chess 960? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Yes, is my quick answer for a change. I am.
Oh, okay.
I mean, well, I think generally Laurent is hijacking my FIDE segment. I mean, he's basically criticizing FIDE here. Which
but
you're quoting Kamsky, who was publicly saying that this is too much, right?
He's right. And I think even Magnus said at some point that the classical world champion had too much privileges. I mean, he said it before becoming world champion and after becoming world champion. But they did like the format and so on. And here, I mean, you have 4 players. I mean, it's called World Championship, FIDE World Fischer Random Championship. And I don't like this FIDE 960, this random. It's called FIDE World Fischer Random Championship.
I get your point.
But isn't that, I don't know enough about the event, but isn't that some event where I guess they found a nice sponsor to host it, maybe yearly, they got permission to call it World Championship, and they need some big names? I'm not sure it works like that if you make everybody qualify, but I know very little about it.
This is the 50-year jubilee for the Fischer-Spassky match, which they're celebrating here in Reykjavik, which I think is great. I mean, well, Wesley So is the reigning world champion. He should be allowed to play. That there is a local player is probably also reasonable. And, Magnus is qualifying by rating and is probably also very helpful for having sponsors here. I mean, that these 3 are here, it's very hard to be critical of, in my opinion.
Come on, you will go after Nepo, yeah?
No.
I mean, like, you will go more after Nepo than after Gretarsson?
Of course.
I mean, like, with all due respect to Gretarsson, I mean, it's 25-30. I mean, like, he will lose games. He lost probably the first game. No, he made a draw with Wesley.
No, he drew against Wesley.
Okay, he drew Wesley, but he will probably have tough times there because, anyway, the results are about the same. Yeah?
But it's not about chess skills. That Iceland gets to have a player here, I mean, in the Fischer Random Championship, it's not completely unreasonable. I mean...
So you're saying Russia shouldn't have a player remembering Fischer-Spassky?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. Okay. I'm saying they shouldn't have a wild card. Russia has 2 players here. They have Fedoseev, if you're checking the
No, then you don't call it. It's a nice event. You don't call it World Championship. I mean, okay, it's a bit. I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, why? I mean, World Cup, soccer World Cup is better with France, with Denmark, with Germany. I mean, and you don't see them. I mean, they have to fight for it.
Well, but also you were saying this is the. I mean, but there was a way to fight. I mean, there was actually qualification for 4 of the spots. They had completely open qualifiers on, I think, Lead Chess and Chess.com, where people had the chance to qualify. So, I mean, well, we're debating how many should have, direct access to it. And, I mean, well, I think 3 would be a more reasonable number than 4, no doubt. But
yeah, okay, 2 is even more reasonable.
So, 2, but I mean, that Iceland gets to have a player. I mean, it's kind of normal that the host nation gets to have a player in these kind of things. If it was...
Where's that normal?
Well,
like the candidates tournament or...
Well, candidates, they had it recently, but in other sports, let's say the European or World Championship in football, the host nation qualifies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is quite
Can't argue with that.
The defending champion doesn't. So maybe we should learn from them.
No, they don't, and you can have this kind of argument for sure. But I mean, to say that 960 is a very established format. I mean, well, you could have 16 players instead of 8 here, but that's probably difficult for, let's say, financial reasons, most likely. I mean, the 960 World Championships has not been that structured yet, and it's not. Well, I think that's what Jan is saying. Is it considered a World Championship that with the same weight and as Rapid Blitz or Classical? No, it's probably not yet.
Yeah, I obviously don't care.
Also, is this the Peter Heine defense FIDE section, or what are we doing?
Also, I'm not sure. I'm sure they got an agreement with FIDE to call it the World Championship, but kudos to them. They got a nice event with Magnus, Nakamura, So Nepomniachtchi, and they gave people a chance to qualify. Make some money. What's not to like? Let's not act like the stakes are super high here in the. I forgot the name. What's the tournament called, Laurent?
I don't know. I'm just
sorry.
hitting.
I'll stop on you. Like the Fisher Random 960.
Well, FIDE World have in front of me. I mean, FIDE World. I mean, I don't think amateurs they like. I mean, it's too complicated. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I was commenting on such, it was not. Numbers were much lower than a regular tournament, but yeah, I mean, it was too confusing. Even for us, it's confusing, but for amateurs, it's even more confusing. So.
Also, maybe that's the opening nerd bias, but I also don't find it that aesthetically pleasing. Like, very often you have these games where both sides struggle for 25 moves to get the pieces onto a sort of normal squares, and then it starts. Of course, not always the case, and the game could evolve. But yeah, I've never been sold, but it might be.
I know, and I was like you, Jan, but I've changed my mind. I actually think it's very interesting, and well, for instance, it gives the chance to play games with classical time control, which is kind of Magnus's point. That well, the game feels less drawish because there is less theory, and you get to have.
I already said I don't like it.
No, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Let me just say that I'm not sure that you're right, but I think in practice you're right. It's not going to be very popular, and I get also your point that it's probably mainly popular among elite players who plays because, well, they think they can get to play. They don't have to spend the whole day preparing. While at a bit lower level, these kind of drawing tendencies are not as important as the extreme top level. So I guess from practical purposes, I think you are right. I mean, chess 960 is not going to evolve into the main discipline in chess, even if the best players in the world would like it to be like that.
Also, a big part of the chess industry is, opening books or courses or trying to learn from top players what they do here and there. And if you get rid of that part, I agree. I think for top players, it's fun. It's less work and a fresh new game. But I don't think chess is dying the death of draws at, well, not even at top level, but particularly not at lower levels. So.
Exactly. No, I get your point also. The chess industry, are we going to sell books about my favorite, lions in position 342, probably not, right? So you have to start explaining people concepts, and that's already much less popular than giving them do this and you're gonna win tomorrow kind of quick fixes. So
stay tuned for my 960 part chessable course coming out very soon.
So anyway, I'm waiting for round 2 to start, which is not, but let's see.
Oof. So we are skipping the FIDE segment, or how does that work?
No, not necessarily. We can, but
no, please. So what's
please tell us, Peter.
We have the jingle, yeah. We have
sorry,
a great jingle.
there is that's true. There is a jingle. Honestly, don't think I have been to any kind of infights with Gustafsson the last week.
That's amazing, actually.
But no, of course. I mean, well, again, I can mention that. Well, with the women's tournament starting, the candidates in Monaco again. Well, we have this artificial split, right? That the Ukrainian players is playing in Monaco and the Russian players are playing in Uzbekistan later. And well, it's basically a construction to avoid Russian players and Ukrainians playing in the same half. But well, we are starting to actually change the actual system. We are, I mean, based on politics, and well, it shouldn't be like that, in my opinion. And well, I think even if I read her Twitter correctly, Kostenyuk, who is in the Uzbekistan pool, was sort of complaining and saying that, well, no one seemed to care about the input of some of the players who was criticizing it. And
yeah, let's face it, it's not good for her. I mean, she has to play Goyashkina and Lagno. I think she has to beat both of them, which is I mean, like they are the two. I mean, Goyashkina is for sure the highest rated, and Lagno must be not so far behind. So I mean, it's not pleasant from a sportive point of view for her.
No, if you have an 8-player all play all, they all play the exact same players. While in knockout, if you're in the lower half, you get 3 higher rated opponents most likely, while the higher rated will play lower rated. And I think statistically that will come.
Yeah, but it's okay if there is a normal drawing of lots. I mean, it's okay. I mean, like, or you do it by rating, but here they didn't do it by ratings. That's the problem.
No, well, I think Sutovsky said, or maybe the rules said that they made 2 pools which were approximately the same rating average. But well, I think some annoying guy on Twitter, it was probably me, pointed out that, well, it was possible to make even a more fair distribution, but of course that wouldn't work politically. And well, I think the main problem politically is that it's not a given that Ukrainians are allowed to play against Russians right now, as it is in this kind of event. So it's a tricky situation, but I don't think it's ideal solving it like that. And
so they're just praying that there is no Russian player in the final against Ukrainian.
FIDE is postponing the problem in terms of that maybe the 2 Ukrainians or the 3 Russians would be knocked out, which would take care of that problem. And well, with the round 1 seems to happening today, that might take care of that problem. But well, also we have this principle that you don't change the structure of a tournament, of a cycle, when the cycle has started. And that is, as many has mentioned, also FIDE. But in this one, it is exactly changed for that. I think also I have mentioned before that it's unclear who took this decision. There is, I mean, well, I assume it's the FIDE Council, but it's hard to see, and no one has really said this is our responsibility. We think this is the right way to do it, and so on and so forth. So that obviously I'm critical of as well. And well, I generally don't want to talk about the Reykjavik tournament, but of course it's as you said that Nepomniachtchi got the wild card, and there is well 2 Russian players playing here in Reykjavik, and well, it does have some kind of political context in the way that Iceland is among the countries who sort of officially support that Russian athletes should not be be playing. And well, it makes it a bit political when you go against the country's principle. I mean, Iceland is among the 35 countries who has signed these kind of things. Also, I think in the chess world, there is this idea that FIDE is following IOC recommendations, but I think last weekend there was a IOC meeting where they again confirmed that, well, the current status is that the IOC recommends no participation of Russian and Belarusian athletes. It was a quite eventful meeting. I think even the Danish delegation, who was speaking quite openly, basically got sort of reprimanded by Thomas Bach, the leader of IOC, and I think the Danes walked out at some point because Russian and Belarusian and sports politician was allowed in the hall, while the Ukrainians were only participating remotely. And I think the Denmark was pointing to that they thought that's wrong. So at least in Denmark, my point of view has seen as rather normal, and I can see that now Gustafsson is basically falling asleep. So we.
No, but I know the hits, like wrong pairings in the candidates. Russian players allowed in countries, like all these topics have been covered on a weekly basis. But what is your point of view, like on the topic? Should Russian players under FIDE flag not be in any tournaments? What's your point of view? I
agree with the IOC, yes. That currently the IOC, which is sort of the umbrella sports thing, should... they are recommending that Russian and Belarusian athletes should not be allowed to compete, and I support that. The general principle is that they shouldn't be put in a situation that's sort of better than the country being attacked, which is Ukraine, which will either have to go to the army or not allowed to leave the country. As well, I think, especially in chess, that's a very relevant point, that we shouldn't risk that the athletes would be used for propaganda. And this is a huge risk, obviously. I mean, imagine a Russian world champion. That could be both in the open section or the female section. Do we feel sure that they will not be used for propaganda? Not in my opinion, especially not with the Russian Chess Federation having Peskov and Shoigu there. They have always been using it for propaganda. So I think that the chess world, especially with our ties to the Kremlin, should follow the general recommendations and not make our own exceptions as we are doing it. So yes, that is my point of view. And I understand that it's an extreme point of view in the chess world, but in the general sports point of view, it's mainstream. I'm not really trying to hide it a little bit because it's not very popular.
No, I understand that these IOC recommendations, but they're not being followed in any sports. And IOC can hide behind, it's just recommendations. We have no say and so on, right?
Well, you said any sports. You mean they're not being followed in every sport, but they've been following in the vast majority of sports.
Okay, that I don't know. In many, I meant to say. It's an awkward topic. I think the overall thing is, you should ideally not invade your peaceful neighbors like it will.
No, that would be a good start. But also, I think it's more important to go after, let's say, the politicians. Rather than the athletes, and that there is also some debate about. But it's obvious that the Russian Chess Federation has extremely direct overlap with persons in the Kremlin, and that, of course, should not be allowed. I genuinely think that the Russian Chess Federation should be expelled from FIDE, and they should be allowed to build a new federation with no ties to the Kremlin. No doubt about that.
All right. Any good candidates for leading that new federation? Anyway, I'm teasing. It's a bit of a too serious a subject to mess around, but it's the same every week. I know your points of view. Everybody does, so it's hard to.
I understand.
Mess around.
Well, you can joke, but I don't know. But I think also, Russian chess players should also have a chance to play where they're not actually representing Shoigu and Peskov. That's not reasonable.
Well, that's always the tricky debate, no? Like if it's on the back of the players and what's reasonable to ask from the players for playing, like should they leave the country, should they distance themselves in whatever form, how much personal risk to their family and livelihoods or so on can we expect from them? It's a very tricky debate.
Well, that's all. Also part of it, the IOC was sort of airing the idea that Russian athletes in other sports should be allowed back if they were sort of openly, saying that they're not supporting the war. But that put the athletes at risk in their own country because it might be illegal if they do so. And then, it becomes a very, very complicated situation. I think the IOC says that.
That's what I'm saying. It's not an easy topic, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, the IOC is saying we fully understand these problems. It's an unsolvable dilemma where we have to make some kind of choice, and this is our current choice. It's not. I'm not
sure the IOC is the big reigning moral authority that we should listen to generally. But yeah.
Boom. Shots fired.
No, but
No, come on. Read anything.
in the world of sports, they are. I mean, I have not been very happy with the IOC in general, but in sports, obviously.
I mean, if you put 100th of your focus that you put on FIDE on IOC, I'm not sure how much of a fan you would remain. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm not sure. No, I'm not even sure what side I'm arguing here, but keep quoting the IOC as a great authority, I find strange.
No, you're just. I know what you are doing, Jan. You are protecting our future jobs in the appeal committee by defending FIDE. This is very good. I'm very grateful.
No, I'm just being a contrarian. I don't even know what I'm doing. I should just shut up during the FIDE segment. I'll now go for a beer with Nigel and the president of the Pakistani Chess Federation to debate some appeals committees. That sounds like a productive use of my time.
Yeah, but also, I mean, if you don't want to have me just doing speeches, there also needs to be some kind of a debate. Else it's just going to be me being upset.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. The problem is I'm awkward about my own position because I always end up defending Russia or FIDE.
No,
I really don't care.
Actually, Nigel made a nasty tweet. I mean, like, I was shocked. I thought it was a bit.
What, the Naka massage tweet? He ran it by me at breakfast. I said that's harmless.
No, the tweet with Peter's wife on the picture and Ilyumzhinov. I mean, that was just very weird talking about women. Even
I saw that tweet, but I didn't get it. Like, what was it about? I couldn't really figure it out.
I mean, that was a very old picture. He was saying, first of all, he was saying we always do a lot for. First of all, he was out. Now he's in FIDE. Okay, it's not very clear what he's doing there. And he said, we always did a lot to develop women chess. First of all, he's not the best person. I mean, after his what he said previously a few years ago, maybe he's not the best person to talk about that. I would really think he's not the best
But
person.
there was Ilyumzhinov on the picture. Was that meant as a joke that Ilyumzhinov didn't, or that already Ilyumzhinov did, and why is Peter's wife in it? I really couldn't get it.
No, but Ilyumzhinov, and it was... no, we see Victoria in the main... I mean, like, it's clearly you see Victoria. I mean, like...
No, I saw her. I just didn't understand where the shots were being fired.
It was clearly just a way to tease... To annoy Peter. I mean, and that was a bit childish. Let's face it. I mean, that was... I don't know how you felt about it, Peter, but I mean, that was just weak.
I am not very impressed with Nigel in general, but it seemed a bit desperate to that. And I mean, well, starting to drag my wife into it is a bit much, but sort of to do the current statement that, well, I mean, I think it's 3 days ago, Victoria received a state order by decree of Zelensky, and that probably speaks for itself, I would say, in this actual situation. So, I mean, you can try and drag this into things, but I think that, she's doing politics and where her point of view and sort of principles are is very clear. At dragging, we can start dragging family members into this, but it just strikes me as rather ridiculous, in my opinion. I mean,
Nigel was one of the haters of Ilyumzhinov, big hater.
Yeah. No.
I mean, to put Ilyumzhinov there, it was so weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it was strange.
I think never mind that. But of course, to be fair, I have been not to be fair, but sort of to give context, I have been critical of Nigel getting the job, and I mean, I have been saying pretty openly that one thing is what he said about women, but we should also debate, some kind of actions. And I think that, for instance, Greg Shahade has stepped forward with some concrete example where he thought that Nigel has crossed some lines. But I think that before we go on with that,
hang on, I'm taking notes here for the.
Yeah, but also I think I would like our lawyers to sort of confirm how the defamation rules are also in Europe. So before I say more about that, but that's actually why.
Please pay a beer to Nigel, Jan.
Do we have a lawyer?
Go fast.
Yeah.
A chicken lawyer?
I'm sure Nigel.
It's you, Jan.
I would be surprised if not. But generally, I mean, I'm not planning to sue people, but I am considering taking one or two people to the FIDE Ethics Committee. I thought that's how we do this thing in the chess.
Wow, the highest authority after the IOC, FIDE Ethics Committee.
But you're joking, but it's exactly how it is.
Yes,
there is the
I'm joking.
Ethics Commission, and then you can if you lose there, you can appeal to the what is it called, CAS, which is actually part of the IOC. So you're right.
So you don't think it's a contradiction to call everything that FIDE does morally bankrupt and then considering taking people to the FIDE ethics committee as punishment?
Yes or no? That's the legal system, and I think they were very proudly saying at the FIDE Congress that they have nothing to do with FIDE in that sense, and they even have.
Why is it a legal system? What can they do? Like ban a player, or like what legal authority does the ethics committee have?
They can remove the president. They have the power to remove the president, actually. So you saw they removed kayaking from the candidates tournament. They have the power to remove the president, actually. So the FIDE ethics committee is extremely powerful, and they were doing a lecture at the FIDE Congress, and surprisingly, I didn't go there, but my source was telling me that they basically were saying out loud that, we actually are so powerful, we can remove the president. I'm not saying they want.
Where's your source? Transparency.
It is like getting live tweets.
Sorry, no. But I mean, you are underestimating my knowledge of the inner workings of the FIDE system. Or maybe not.
I'm not sure. Knowledge is the word, but we're not underestimating your dedication to the matter.
That's true. So let's see.
Anyway, I need to get out of here. This has dragged on for too long. It's been a great pleasure listening and hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
I'll
focus on the rest of my
last
great
20 minutes
open.
was brilliant.
And I have to go to Magnus and help him with preparing a Fischer random position as well. So that should be nice as well.
Good luck. Laurent, enjoy Cap d'Act. Sounds like you're a traveling chess professional now. Have fun.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate 5 stars minimum, because it's been another fantastic episode. Review, subscribe, do the thing. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.